welcome back to Eat the World. In the last episode, I was on my way heading to the far north of British Columbia to set up an exploration camp. So I left the bounder behind and hopped on a plane to Smithers, our last outpost before the wilderness. Now, since then, I've now arrived in camp. We left Smithers flying through mountain valleys and made it here east of Alaska, south of the Yukon, and west of the Canadian Rockies. After a night in a hotel, having met my new colleagues, we got up early and our ride turned up an hour and a half late, putting us all a bit on an apprehensive edge because we were all new. But we got picked up and we headed to a small airstrip and loaded up the plane with supplies. We were flying in a Kodiak, a real workhorse bush plane. We had a quick briefing and we took off into the unknown. I was excited and terrified. This was all very new, but no turning back now. And off we went. I was excited to be in the co-pilot seat, but let's take off and I'll tell you my story. End of day one, and it was a long day. First started off this morning, we caught the Kodiak plane and that flew us through some gnarly valleys, and I was in the co-pilot seat, and I could see the pilot. He was struggling because the weather was setting in, and we'd go down one valley and it'd be fine, and then the weather just set in and it blocked our view, and we were flying VFR, so visual flight rules, just winding through valleys, making way further and further up north, and the weather would just set in, and there were some times he was pulling some 2G turns just to get us right back out of that valley as quickly as possible. I felt so bad for some guys on those planes because we'd be going down these valleys, and all of a sudden the walls would just be put up of cloud, and this pilot was I was scared for a little bit. He'd just do these 2G turns right into the mountain, and it was gnarly. There was 5 or 6 of us in the plane, but he was guys were puking, and it wasn't pleasant. I felt bad for them. They looked proper green. We did that, and then we did that. Probably the flight should have been about an hour, but it wound up taking about 2.5 hours because we just kept finding dead ends down every valley we turned down, and eventually we found an opening that got us to. I didn't know any of this. Yeah, we thought we'd be on a helicopter, but we got on the plane and said, okay, well there must be a landing strip where we're going. So there's a big landing strip somewhere in the wilderness. Well, this is our first stop, and I thought, this isn't where we're staying, is it? Well, we just got off our Kodiak, And apparently getting into a helicopter now for the next leg. Pretty cool though. And it's like, I don't know how it got there, but there's a landing strip and it's got fuel, because I was starting to look at the fuel gauge and I was starting to shit myself a bit, and I could see that the pilot was doing some kind of mental calculations, going like, oh. And he mentioned something about fuel somewhere. Anyways, it was getting to be a bit of a concern. And what did we do? So we got to the landing strip and we thought, oh, this doesn't look like the camp. Like there's nothing here. It's just a landing strip and a bunch of dirt. So it turns out we then used a satellite phone and called a helicopter to come and get us. And then this black chopper comes around with the pilot. It's a bit of a character. And he just came, I don't know if I'll show you the footage, but he just came barreling into us. And just like, I've taken helicopters before up and down mountains, and they just sort of like place it down gently, and then you get, you know, but this was just like, oh, this is bush helicoptering, and he just came flying right into us. And off we went with Jake the pilot, with as dramatic a departure as his entrance. The camp was about 20 minutes flying from the airstrip, but apparently we weren't out of the woods yet, weather-wise. Jake took us on the most direct route over the mountain, and we were met with the same walls of cloud and weather and poor visibility. As you can kind of see, Jake was hugging those mountainsides really close, really deep in the valley, trying to get us over the mountains and into the camp. And it was kind of fun, but it was also kind of scary because we were pretty close to the land. And we did a quick U-turn and a hasty retreat out of this valley. So we took the long way, and pretty soon we were landing down in camp. It was a bit of a tense journey, but still a lot of fun, and my gosh, what amazing scenery. I am so fortunate, and I felt so fortunate to be witnessing this scenery so up close from such an amazing perspective that not a lot of people get to do and see. Luckily, there's a little bit of infrastructure. Like some guys got in here a little before us, and they started putting in some of the infrastructure. So we're not walking in straight into tents and nothing at all. There's a stuff there. So we got set up. We got dropped off our stuff. Had some lunch because there was lunch ready for us, and then I started working. Started building pads, which is just. We're just building timber pads to put up some portable structures for people who are going to come in to work here, because this is going to be quite a busy spot apparently. There should be about, I don't know, I was told, I keep hearing various things, but up to about 80 people coming here. I was well out of my depth and well out of my comfort zone, but the guys are, the pad builders and the maintenance guys are super nice, and they're very patient too, and I picked it up pretty quick, so I'm kind of proud of myself because I was pretty nervous. Like I had, like when we first started, I was feeling a little bit sick. Just like oh fuck, what have I done? Because when you finally get somewhere and it's just like, I'm in the mountains right now and there's nothing around us,
I was starting to have that, not anxiety, but just, yeah, I was shitting myself a little bit, if I'm honest. And then we built the pads. We built a couple of pads, and that was really cool. And then we had some dinner, and the food was awesome. A really good camp cook here. Anyways, this is my tent that I'm in, sharing with, I got some bunk mates, but I don't know, they're off doing something right now. But I'm gonna go for a wander, but I'm pretty beat, ready for bed, I think, and I'll get some better footage tomorrow. Day one, it was quite the adventure, and a lot of fun, honestly, a lot of fun.